The greatest ideas have come from sitting on the toilet. Every day, some company, individual, or group is known for giving the public a load of bullshit. Come here to get your daily dose of shit by Alan Cousin. It's time you hear the shit everyone wants to know.
Hello there, and welcome to your daily dose of shit with Alan Cousin. Today is Tuesday. That's right. Happy Tuesday, everyone. So, my type, or I should say my topic today, my type. Why am I always talking about my type? Probably because I'm always thinking about what type of food I want to eat or what drink I want to have. But anyway, my topic for today is very short and brief, but to the point. It's the topic of the removal of the Internal Revenue Service, or as you better know it, the I.R.S. Now, I'm sorry. Honestly, it just caught me off guard. I just was like, what? 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 Because here's the thing. Okay, so I was, as always, sitting on my ivory throne and relaxing. And so I'm figuring, since I'm going to be there for a moment, might as well go ahead and pull out my smartphone. So I did. And as I'm scrolling through the news, I see this one topic article talking about the House of Representative Republicans trying to pass a bill to remove the Internal Revenue Service. And here I am thinking to myself, now, I owe money myself to the Internal Revenue Service. I mean, not a lot, of course, just a couple of thousand. That'll easily be taken care of due to a situation that I've definitely learned from, of course. But I was thinking to myself, here we are, 2023, and we have the Republican GOP and House officials trying to pass a bill to remove the Internal Revenue Service, aka I.R.S. Now, granted, the I.R.S. was developed back in the early 1930s, I believe, or 40s, because it was necessary for tax purposes to help allocate funds to be able to help America grow, because basically those funds were utilized towards highways and schools and education and helping with loans towards businesses and so forth, because basically, the government wanted to make the economy grow and, of course, have a certain cap on how much money businesses can make, and also make sure to have a stringent eye on personal people, individuals, to make sure that their funding was being appropriately categorized and cataloged and so forth. Now, of course, yes, it was also part of the, let us watch you and know what you're doing as well, because of course, they wanted to see how much money was being made so they can see systematically if the funding and wages at the time were appropriate for spending and adequate enough to spend in the economy of that day. But it was also because they wanted to know how much money you were making and where you were spending it, and making sure that you could only have so much money, saved and so forth. So it was a positive and a negative. It was a big balance of good things and bad things. But still, all in all, the I.R.S. was there, and it wasn't supposed to be forever. It was just supposed to be there temporarily, so that basically they can understand, how economics was working and whether or not wages were being given at a reasonable rate to make sure that people can survive and live, and see how people were living with the amount of money they were making. But here's my thing. Now, my opinion, do you think I would love the I.R.S. to be eliminated? I mean, yeah, I have no problem with that. Because here's the thing. There was a time back in 2000, where I believe it was Hannity came up with a bill that was going to have it so that you didn't have to pay federal taxes anymore. You had a choice, basically, of whether or not to pay federal taxes or whether or not to keep your taxes. So that way, if you wanted to pay, you could. But if you didn't want to pay, you would keep all of your taxes. But in return, you would be responsible for your own retirement and retirement funding, because then, of course, you would not be giving money into Social Security and so forth. And this bill almost got passed and got all the way up to Congress and even the Senate reviewing it. And then the House of Representatives stated that they were not going to pass the bill because, quote unquote, after doing a survey, they stated that individuals in America would not be able to manage their money accurately or appropriately to the point that they could actually have a useful amount of funding at the end of their years to retire on. So basically, they were saying we can't allow this because most of the people out there don't know how to manage their money, and therefore, if we did this, most people would definitely not have any money left over to actually utilize for retirement purposes. And that scared me. Now, still, I was like, they should have gave us a choice. Because like I said, I'm not the greatest at managing my money. I mean, we all make mistakes, but I am a financial consultant. So I am fairly very well in handling money, managing money, investing money in stocks and so forth, and doing business allocations. So I think I would be okay if you gave me the choice. Now, there are others out there, of course, who are not very business savvy and don't have the ability of saving their money, managing money properly, and most likely may have some difficulty not spending their money once it was given to them fully and not having to worry about pay taxes, which gives them more money to spend, even more so, but of course, less money to save because they don't have proper money management techniques. The question you have to ask yourself, though, is why would the IRS be eliminated? Why would the Republicans want to eliminate the IRS? Well, let's think about this for a moment, shall we? Yes, let's think. So, I'm going to say my theory on why I think the Republicans are trying to pass a bill to eliminate the IRS. The IRS controls how much money is being spent and how much you have to pay on taxes per dollar earned. The IRS also controls, though, how much money you will receive if you make an amount of money that is considered minimum or poverty level to an average cost of living. And the IRS also basically keeps track of how much money goes in and goes out so that the House of Representatives and Senate and other Senate appropriation committees can know how much money is being made by businesses throughout the United States. So here's the thing. You eliminate the IRS, which basically means they're already short-staffed as it is, right? What would that do possibly for America? Well, first thing, who would actually be managing and taking appropriate funds from businesses based on the amount of money they made? Or, in layman's terms, control the taxation of how much money you should pay back for the amount of money you made. I'm guessing no one. Who would then monitor the individuals who are not making enough or who basically are living below poverty level because of the amount of money they earn in an annual, year, to the point that they may need money given to them as a credit by the government because they made less than the average pay? I'm going to think no one. And then, of course, there's the thing of dependence. People receiving money because they're helping to take care of others, like their kids or their parents or someone who's living with them who basically doesn't work on their own. And these dependents receive a credit of sometimes anywhere between $3,500 to $6,000 per person on average, that will be given to them in the form of cash because basically they're spending their money to take care of someone else. Well, if the IRS is not there, then appropriately, who would be doing that? My guess, no one. So here we are. Now, granted, the IRS is a big bubble of funding. What I mean by that is it takes a lot of money to keep the IRS running because, granted, they have a lot of employees and they have large buildings employed with these employees. And it takes a lot of hours to manage the taxation and auditing of funding from businesses and individuals. So, yes, does the IRS take an enormous budget from the government? Yes, it does take an enormous budget from the government. And if we were to eliminate the IRS, then that budget that we're currently spending on them would then be freed up to possibly go somewhere else or possibly help our current $32 trillion deficit go a little lower next year. So I can understand from both sides how maybe this could help us financially, because then we're not giving away money to those who say that they need it because they're not making enough. We're not spending a lot of money on overtime and work hours for individuals who are trying to keep up with the amount of money being spent and going after those who are not paying their proper taxes. And we basically would allow people to possibly have more money in their pockets, and businesses have more money in their pockets because now they're not basically paying taxes on that money per se and can utilize that money towards other means. So I see the good and the bad and the ugly, so to speak. Now, which one is good and bad and ugly and which one is better, I don't know. But it's just something I felt the need to talk about today because I was like, wow, eliminating the IRS. I mean, they're already going after taking 80,000 employees out of the IRS. So I figured, that in itself was going to just cut an expensive amount of budget out of the deficit that we're currently building on. But to take the whole IRS, I mean, could you imagine how much money would be saved? Because the IRS would be eliminated, but then at the same time, it makes you question what would happen to those individuals that are living under the poverty level that basically need credit from the government, or should I say assistance from the government. How would they then get that assistance is my question. And I'm sure that there is an answer out there that we haven't heard yet, or maybe there's no answer at all because basically they don't care about those individuals getting assistance, and hopefully would like to just stop it completely so that it could just stay poorer and poorer, because the poorer you are, the more fearful you become and the more manipulated you can become, because basically you have no control of doing anything because you don't have access to have control, because basically you have no money to get that access or that control. So just something to think about. I really just had to bring up this opinion in this point. It's not something I want to drill into your head right now because it's not really much to talk about right now. Might bring it up again later in the future and talk more about it with more statistics and more facts. But it's just the interesting thing of how all of a sudden you bring in McCarthy, who literally could not get enough votes to become a majority leader of the GOP. I mean, I'm sorry. I would not want to be on any television, any news article to be known as the gentleman that it had to take a alternative way of voting to get me to become the majority party leader. And this hasn't happened in over 100 years. And now that you're finally, almost in there, y'all are not even holding back and trying to eliminate the IRS. You're not wasting any time, are you? And if this is the beginning of 2023, well, whoa. What are we looking forward to the rest of this year? Because let me tell you, that's a powerful move to try to eliminate the IRS. A very powerful move. And the question you have to always ask out of the 5 questions that you normally ask for any situation of who, when, what, why, where, and how, the main question is why? 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 So something to think about. Why would the GOP and Republicans want to eliminate the IRS? What's the gain for them more so than for the country as a whole? Think about that. Because you know what? I am definitely going to think about that. And even as a Republican myself and a member of the GOP party, it still caught me off guard. So let that simmer in your mind a little bit. So I'm going to let you go today because you know what? I don't have to do a 30-minute or 15-minute program. I just get on the toilet, take a dump, think about what I thought, the thoughts came through my mind while I was taking my dump, and then I come talk about it. And that's just what I'm doing right now. So I took my dump today. I went through the news as I scrolled while sitting on my porcelain toilet taking my dump. I saw this item, this topic. I'm speaking about it. I've spoken about it. I've given you my thoughts. Now guess what? I'm done. So with that being said, good day, mates! Until tomorrow. But anyway, seriously, have a great one. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the weather. That's another topic. 15 degrees 2 weeks ago. Now it's 65. But hey, there's no climate change, right? It's just all in our heads. Imagination. Conspiracy theory number 1, 2, 3. Or maybe it's just the truth.
Let's put a smile on that face.
Okay, well, toodaloo.
Thanks for listening to your daily dose of shit talk show. If you have some insights, questions, or information of bullshit to pass on, please email us at momentousevents@aol.com. Make sure to come back daily to hear some new shit about money, business, life, and who knows what else as I take a dump on the toilet.